What is the opposite of live service? Like, I know we're playing zombies, and so that would make it what, Luke?
I'd say dead service.
Yeah, okay, very good, very good.
But
genuinely, like, what is that? Like, when you're releasing a game, part of me wants to say, well, it's feature complete, but that's not the point of live service, so we can't say that. What is it?
I mean, I guess you could say like a traditional game in the sense that like when the game releases, it has the content that like it's going to have long term. Like,
yeah,
it's not like reliant on loads of updates down the line. Like, it can get them for like additional content, but it's not reliant on them.
Right. So it's like a static launch as opposed to a dynamic launch almost, where like a dynamic one you expect to change over time, whereas this is like a WYSIWYG situation. It's like what you see is what you get, right?
Yeah. What's on the back of the box when you go to Game Station to buy it is what you're getting for the rest of eternity for that game. Barring,
when I rock up in HMV, this is what I expect to be playing for the rest of the year. So today we're going to kick this off with just the question of like, okay, we've got the opposite of our live service games, our dead service games, and COD has been a dead service game for forever, right? Like back in the day, we would have a map like this come out, which I think this is one of your favorite maps. Is that right, Luke?
This is my favorite zombie map of all time. I mean, I have a lot that are like my top 5 is actually like 10 maps.
Bro, what? How does that work?
Oh, that's a different topic for a different day.
Okay.
Maybe one day I sit down by the fireside and do a 4-hour-long video about my top 10 maps.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I look forward to it.
But no, this is, in terms of like atmosphere, I think this is my favorite. In terms of layout, like this was the first zombies map to actually get a little bit of a complex layout because for all intents and purposes, like, I mean, Nacht was obviously very simple. Verrucht was a big loop, whereas this feels like, I don't know, this almost feels open world in a way that Verrucht and Nacht didn't. It feels more like open and expansive in a way
it's
that they
definitely more of a challenge to remember where the hell you are. I can definitely agree with you on that front, because I still, to this day, if you tell me, like, oh yeah, go down the stairs and tell me what hut is at the bottom of those stairs, couldn't tell. Is it the fishing hut? No idea. Literally no clue.
I'm going to probably expose myself as a fake Shi No Numa fan here, but I think it's Com's Hut.
Oh, well, let's see.
Com's Hut out there, because that's where the SDG is, and that's where you do the high rounds, I'm pretty sure.
I can see the word room. That's all I can see. Wait, is it Com room?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one. It's the one in white writing.
Yes. Wait, are the others not in white writing?
Yes, it's Storage Hut is in red, Fishing Hut is in blue, and the other one... Oh my god, what's the other one?
Wait, what? Are you... Bro, I'm opening right now. I did not know that. Hold on.
It's like different color writing or different color board. I know Storage Hut is red.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, there it is.
Dude, what? Hold on. It's the 5th of November, 2023. I'm going to alt-tab right now. You're going to disconnect from the game. And
no.
All right, you do it. You do it for me. Google for me what day specifically Shi No Numa came out on.
Oh, I can put June... I'm not even going to Google it. I think June 23rd or 24th, 2009.
Okay, Mr. Savant over here. Holy mo... All right, okay, now go to Google for me and type in how many days have passed since June 23rd. What did you say? 1989?
I'm gonna check. No, hang on. Whoa. We're old. We're not that old. We're not that old. Not yet. Right. Let me check. I'm gonna check the actual numbers here.
Yeah.
I may go down.
No. You would never go down. I got you. You'll never go down. Not in a million years, bro.
A total of. Oh no! I don't want to know that number. That's horrible.
Say it.
Prepare yourself. 5,260 days have passed since this map came out. Good lord.
Oh my god. That's actually really depressing. 5,000 days.
Hang on, I need to go and take my joint medication, dude. My back's acting up again.
Bro, my arthritis is acting up. What the hell, dude? That's outrageous. Okay, well, 5,000 days ago, Call of Duty was a dead service game, right? And a map like this would come out, and oh, that's a zombie. Hello.
You good?
Yep. A map like this would come out, and very quickly, we would try out some new strategies. We'd find glitches. There'd be the occasional patch to get rid of glitches. Like, they did have that level of service back in the day, but that was basically the extent of it. It sort of finished there, right? It never really went any further than that. Nowadays, games are releasing completely feature incomplete. The plan is like, oh yeah, we'll complete the content within the first 6 months, or at that like day one patch that ends up coming out a few weeks after launch, or it ends up being that there's an expansion that's needed, or what have you. And the world is in a very different place. And I feel like to set you up here for a point that I'd like you to make, Luke. I feel like to some extent that's kind of happened pretty severely with Halo. Am I right?
Just a little bit. I think out of all the franchises I can think of that have been running throughout the dead service and live service eras, respectively, I think Halo is probably the top 3 in terms of franchises that have shed features that they should have had at launch. Like, if you compare Infinite at launch to Halo 3 or Halo Reach, which is obviously the peak of like feature sets for Halo at launch, I honestly would say Infinite had maybe 25% of the features of Halo Reach at launch.
Wait, that much of a reduction?
So there was no co-op campaign. Theater mode was there, but it may as well have not been there because it didn't work. Custom games may have not been there because it didn't work. There was no Forge. There was no progression system.
I forgot about that. Like, the leveling thing, that was just entirely not there, wasn't it?
It's just not. That only got added a year. No, not a year ago. That got added in June this year.
Oh my god, that's what, 2 years after launch? More than 2 years?
Almost 2 years. That was about 18 months after. I think actually it was about 19 months it took them to add a progression system. Something like that. That like I remember when Reach came out, the progression system was like grinded so hard that Bungie had to put like a hard cap of daily XP in for how much you could earn.
Wait, really?
And, like, you literally, it was a massive point of contention back in like 2010. Like, if you earn over, I think it was like 70,000 credits in one day, the game would just stop giving you anything. Like, you flat out could not earn anymore.
You know where that came from? I reckon that was inspired by the World of Warcraft devs. Because they had to introduce a limit on the XP you could grind because people were playing the game so unhealthily that they literally just would not get off the game. And so they made a thing where, I don't know if it was XP or a certain like amount of gold. I don't know. I've never been a WoW player. But there was something that they added years and years ago while they were really blowing up and becoming the biggest game on the planet to prevent people from like dying playing World of Warcraft.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Average MMO players be like.
Well, I mean, hey, it's Halo as well, apparently. You can't get out of it, buddy.
You literally can't escape it wherever you go.
Yeah, dude.
Thankfully, thankfully that got scrapped not long after launch because it was an absolutely awful idea. But so back to the point we were making about like feature sets at launch and stuff. Like, we thought Halo 5 was bad. Like, when Halo 4 launched, Halo 4 had many problems, but one of the things it didn't have going against it at all was its like launch content. That game had a really, really good amount of content at launch. Like, almost on par with Reach. I'd say maybe like a little tiny bit less than Reach, but for the most part, it was on par with Reach. Whereas Halo 5 was like a huge step down. So and we were like, right, can't go any worse, but it did.
What was the like the DLC offering for a game like Halo 4? Like if Halo 4 was the most sort of like feature-rich, feature-complete Halo launch, what was the plan for afterwards? Like how are they going to continue to monetize on that sort of success if it was successful?
So they did map. It was pretty typical of the like 2012 era map packs. And then towards the end of Halo 4, so I think the last DLC the game ever got, so mid 2013 was a DLC pack, a bit like some of the ones that BO2 had, where you could buy remember the ones in BO2 where you could buy like individual weapon skins? It was like $2 and you got like 15 weapon skins.
Oh yeah.
They basically added that to Halo 4, but like you bought this map pack for like 1,000 Microsoft points, throwback to Microsoft points.
Yeah, oh my god.
That basically like gave you a remake of the Pit from Halo 3, which is like a fan favorite, like one of the best Halo maps of all time. And then like 2 of the maps, and then also some armor, and it was like $10. So like very fairly priced for what it was. And you got like a lot of like meaningful content in there. Besides that, it was just map packs. That was it. They did actually. Have you ever played Spartan Ops? Did you ever look at Spartan Ops?
No, I don't know if I actually even know what that is.
So, okay, it's quite interesting, right? So Spartan Ops was basically, you know how games have live service stories now, where like they take a certain mode and they like for normally a battle royale, and they use that mode to tell a story over the live service. That's kind of what Spartan Ops was. Yeah. So Halo had firefight before that, the Horde mode that was like zombies, but nowhere near as fun. It wasn't anywhere near as good as zombies or like Gears of War Horde. And so when people took over, they were like, right, we'll do something different. And this Spartan Ops, which is basically like, it was literally Spec Ops, right? So like Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Spec Ops.
Okay, cool.
Nowhere near as good from a gameplay perspective.
But still something. Like, I'll take it, right?
Oh, yeah, dude, it was a lot of content. Like, and it told a meaningful story that, like, with blur cinematics as well. So, like, the cinematics looked insanely high quality.
Yeah.
Or actually, it might have been Axis that did them. It's either Blur or one of the two. Either way, like, really high quality pre-render cutscenes. And the plan was eventually, because when Halo 4 came out, half of Season 1 of that shipped with a launch, and then the other half released every week after. So it was like episodic. And the idea was to basically do a Season 2 of that, and I think have that be monetized.
Right.
But Spartan Ops was so bad that it got canned after Season 1, basically. It's one of those things where the idea was really, really good.
Yeah.
The execution was abysmal. Like the levels were like infinite lives, so there's no stakes at all, no risk, no tension. Tons of enemies on like these open world areas that were mostly taken from the campaign or from multiplayer maps, which I don't really mind that much because I mean that's what zombies always did. That's what Gears of War Horde always did.
Right.
It's not about the space; it's about how you use the space. But
for sure.
They didn't really use the space very well, and basically people just didn't really care. Like the story wasn't all that interesting. Ultimately, it got shelved because people weren't interested, and also Halo 4's population had like died off quite a lot, and they were shifting gears to like Halo 5, and a load of things came together. But that was, I think, originally one of the long-term monetization things, which is interesting because that was about a decade ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like back in the day. I mean, Halo 4 came out in which year?
2012.
Okay, yeah. So, like, that's Black Ops 2. So at the time, we're getting those Black Ops 2 map packs, and like Call of Duty is, like you said, it's experimenting with like the occasional skin pack here and there, but they haven't gone anywhere near the idea of like, oh yeah, it's time for battle passes, right? That is just not even in anyone's sort of imagination yet. And as time has gone on, we've gotten more and more close to that sort of battle pass exclusive model, or in some cases, like, that is just the model. It's not close to it. It's they go for a battle pass and they don't bother with any other means of post-launch monetization. Zombies has kind of half fallen into that category where it's not been battle pass sort of specific, I would say, because the maps are free, or they have been free. But you have had like skins for the maps in the battle pass and stuff like that. So it's sort of this like hodgepodge mix of multiple models, I feel like. But with Modern Warfare 3, we're moving for the first time, really, I would say, with zombies. I don't think Cold War would sort of count for this. It's the first time towards a zombies model that technically I feel like is a live service experience, kind of like DMZ. Is that a fair characterization, do you think?
No, 100%. I mean, the mode is literally DMZ, but they put zombies in it for the most part. Like, it's going to be treated the same way as DMZ was treated post-launch, which was very, very, like, I'd say stereotypically live servicey. Not that I played it any more than like 3 raids, but like
really?
my very limited experience was it was very, very like stereotypical live servicey. Like there were little events here and there was monetization tied to it, there were seasonal updates and then like mid-season updates as well with like new like raids and stuff in it. Like there was
so
like
there'll be new maps and things like that for DMZ. So they added like, I think one was Ashika Island, and they added Building 21, which was this like pretty cool actually sort of complex, which was much more close quarters combat and really forced you to like fight other teams and try and extract your high value loot from like a completely different aesthetic of play space. So that was cool. And again, that was not paid content, but one of the things they did with DMZ is they had fewer available weapon extraction slots in your like loadout when you were loading in if you didn't have the paid version of the game. So if you had the free version of DMZ or whatever, then you had maybe, I don't know, 6 slots. And if you had the paid version, you had maybe 20 or something. It was like quite a significant increase, which I actually run into issues with because I had the game on one platform but not on another, and then I was playing on the other platform. I was like, why the hell can't I get these slots unlocked? Like, is my game broken? Like, is this a glitch, dude? Little did I know that it was just that they were trying to get more money out of me.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. That's exactly the same as how Tarkov does it.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Like, the more you spend, the higher edition of the game that you buy, the more, like, out-of-game inventory space you have.
Right.
That's basically it.
Have you played much Tarkov? Is that, like, a favorite of yours?
Bro, it is I'm close to going to the hospital and getting like diagnosed with clinical Tarkov addiction at this point. But I started playing it. So I started playing it like end of August 2022, and I have like 1,700 hours in it now. It is. I'm not even joking when I say it's the single most addictive game I've ever played in my life. More so than like Halo 3, more so than RuneScape in the heyday,
really?
more so than Zombies in the heyday for me. It is the single most addictive game I've ever played in my life.
Oh my god. Okay, so just give me like a 30-second rundown on how they monetize it. Like, what do they do to get your money out of your pocket?
They basically don't. The monetization are the tiers of game that you buy, and that's it. The devs have very staunchly said that they will never add microtransactions to the game ever.
Really? Wow.
And you know what's so nice about that? No element of the game design feels compromised to fit in monetization. For me, more so than any game now, modern Call of Duty feels like it is compromised to the core because of monetization. Everything from zombies, the playable characters in it, the maps, and even like the campaign now. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point, but like the campaigns to me now, post Modern Warfare 2019, feel like the writing is kind of boxed in by the post-launch monetization. Like, well, we can't kill that character off because we've got XYZ skins coming out for him at this point. It just feels, the whole game feels compromised now. And the best thing about Tarkov to me is that there's no element of the game that feels like that. The game is not perfect by any means. It has problems. I can live with those problems for the most part because I know I can enjoy the game without it begging me for money at every turn.
Right,
it's
dude.
Such a rarity in that. So that's one of the reasons I love it so much. It's such a rarity.
Yeah. It's so sad though that like as people that enjoy these sorts of games, it's so common to see those sacrifices being made and to see games that you sort of almost like trusted would maintain their kind of integrity in that regard slowly get eroded over time and end up with these scenarios where it's like, well, I thought I was getting a feature-rich or feature-complete experience, but it turns out that they needed to save this character's full arc for the DLC or the next season of the Battle Pass or what have you, and so therefore the story ends halfway through. Like, I mean, an example of this, actually, to almost sort of devil's advocate my point for a moment, a game that's done this kind of recently is the new Dead Island game. So Dead Island 2, hold on.
We had a whoopsie.
Hold on.
My internet lagged. My game lagged.
I alt-tabbed, bro. I alt-tabbed for sure.
Yeah.
I'm on the way. Okay, I will try my best to maintain my train of thought. There we go. I got you. Dead Island 2 launched with more kind of like a seamless experience and a less buggy like experience than I would have ever predicted. It was an incredibly sort of like solid game. And I say that sort of with the requisite context that that game had basically 10 years of reboots happen to it in its development process. It was ridiculous how many times that game was being made and then not being made and then canceled and then revived. And it was so set up to be an awful, stinking mess. And it's actually really solid, which was really strange. But one of the things that they did with the story, and this isn't going to be a heavy spoiler, I won't be specific, but it does affect the end of the game, just in case anyone listening cares. The main story doesn't end with a satisfying conclusion of like, okay, that was the story of Dead Island 2. Like, it just categorically does not end that way. It meant that I got to the end of it and I was like, oh, okay, they've done some really interesting stuff with the lore and the narrative and the way that they're delivering all of this new Dead Island stuff, and I respected that. But I was really left wanting more and feeling like I could have done with a little bit more confirmation on like who certain people were and what certain people's motives were and why things were the way they were in the world. So it was a little incomplete, but it wasn't so bad. And that's my devil's advocation of the point I'm about to make, which is that Modern Warfare 3's campaign does the freaking polar opposite, dude. Oh my god, I've never seen, genuinely, and I say this not to just blindly hate, but rather to really try and articulate a point that I've done a lot of serious thinking about. I've never seen a game work so hard to not progress its plot.
I know exactly what you mean.
It's like, for people that have played it, I'm sure if you actually sit down and reflect for a little bit on the decisions that the game makes to try and move things forward, it is literally 3 full hours of setting up something that could be interesting and then immediately resolving it or getting rid of it or diminishing it. And then the wider story, it sets up as like, oh, this could be interesting. And then it just is the end, credits roll, goodbye. That's it. That's all you get. It's bizarre. It's so strange. And I feel like it absolutely has to be, oh, that's a zombie. It has to be the result of the team going, well, we need price to be an interesting character for all of this DLC season stuff that we've got going on. And all of the like battle pass stuff that we want to do, and all of the skins that we need to make, and all of the content that we need to roll out in the different seasons, and also within the zombies mode, maybe there's gonna be more implications there, and that hasn't rolled out yet, so we can't finish telling his story until that stuff's rolled out. And it's just like, it's that exact compromise of narrative integrity that you're talking about. And I mean, you were talking about just full game integrity, and I think that that's true too, but just especially in the narrative context, it's baffling. It's a baffling story because it's so close to not being a story. It's just things happen, but then they try their absolute best to pretend that they didn't happen so they can happen later in future updates in the seasonal release live service model. I don't get it.
I think as well, speaking specifically about that like narrative compromise, I think that comes from Call of Duty. Definitely suffers from this, and a lot of universes do now. This constant intent to mimic like Avengers and Marvel and have these like and have like this universe where you're juggling like 15,000 plot threads that at some point all intertwine for some like grand finale. Like, but when you do that, nothing truly ends. Like, you can't resolve anything because at some point that thread that you're going to resolve is needed for some like crossover or collaboration or like mix up at some point down the line. Nothing ever gets any closure. Like, things just go on into perpetuity. Just again, like, to go back to the monetization, they go on for as long as they can be monetized, and then as soon as they can't be monetized anymore, then they're like, okay, right, let's run it out. But like, as long as it can be monetized, it can't have a true ending, because as soon as that ending comes, the monetization dries up. I feel like so much of like media, but like gaming in particular now, is so just like compromised by that, because Marvel and like the MCU kind of like popularized that. And to be fair, up to Endgame, I'm not a Marvel guy at all, but up to Endgame, like, they did it pretty well. Like, it was this very cool, like, culmination of 10 years of storytelling. But that cool factor wears off very quickly when every single franchise and their mothers start doing it. Like, the cool factor of anything wears off when everything does it. But when it's something like that requires, like, so much commitment and, like, long-term attention and devotion, I don't know, it just wears off. Ironically, it suffers from a similar thing as, like, the game industry right now with live service games, where like every game is a live service, and as part of a live service, a game demands your like utmost devotion and like addiction to the point where you have to prioritize it over every other game, and then you just burn out from all of gaming because of it. It's like, it's a similar kind of problem where it's just expecting too much from the watcher.
Do you feel like Marvel is sort of going to be the victim of its own actions here as well? Because like, I've seen recently, and I don't know if this is real, I don't know if it's parody stuff that I've been seeing, to be honest. I've seen, stop it, zapping me.
Whoops, I forgot you could do that. Thank God it's not Packer Punched.
Yeah, dude. I've seen recently stuff saying that Robert Downey Jr. is in talks to reprise his role as Iron Man in the MCU.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
So does that mean, is that real?
I would hazard a guess that it is, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The second, like, what was it called, like Phase 4, the bit after Endgame?
I think
like,
so.
As soon as that started and it started flopping, I was like, as soon as I saw like the first few ones come out and not do very well, I was like, right, here we go. Give it like 5 years and they'll have like, they'll have them all back. They'll have the Avengers back. They'll all get revived, and here we are, like they're getting revived. I would hazard a guess that's true.
Yeah, it's scary, dude, because like I've seen in response to that people saying, okay, so like well, let me be careful with my words here because I don't want to spoil things too much, but in Modern Warfare 3, historically, the old Modern Warfare 3, there are fan favorite characters who have, let's say, difficult time with continuing to be alive. They have just a little bit of an oopsie, you know? They have a gamer moment. And within that, the new game also features such events taking place. I've seen people saying, what if those events can't be trusted anymore? Because Call of Duty is just going to be like, well, ultimately, what we care about is not the narrative integrity. What we care about here is the potential to sell skins, and therefore we could just revive those people if we really needed to. There's always room for some kind of experimental technology that revives people that are dead beyond repair. Like, who knows? They can always just pretend. How many times is COD going to ask me to forget what I know, bro?
You know, it's funny though, like when I saw that particular scene, I messaged one of my friends and said, like, right, I will pay you 10 quid if in the next like 2 or 3 years that event
is undone.
Yes,
Yep.
is undone. Is reversed. It will. I guarantee you right now, it will happen. I bet you right now, at some point, maybe not immediately. I reckon they'll give this one a little bit of a longer, breathing period,
bro,
but it will
how?
happen.
Because it would be. I mean, if that happens, I might hang up my cat. I might retire. That might be it. It would be the most. I mean, I'm not even like a big Modern Warfare campaign person. Like, I don't really have an attachment to that series in the way that some people do. But it would be the most egregious ruination of a beloved franchise I've maybe ever. I mean, Tony Stark would be infinitely worse. If that happened in COD, like, how do I defend it from there?
Here's the thing, right?
It's indefensible, surely.
What you were saying just then about they care far more about monetization than like the quality of narratives, which is like objectively true. Like whichever way you slice it, that is the bottom line with Call of Duty with Activision is not like, oh, how can we tell the greatest military dramas? It's not. It's about how much money we can make, and they're a business.
Right.
And I get that, right? But I think what people have got to remember is that like the significant majority of players right now, the silent majority that don't watch videos, that just play the game, care more about being able to buy a flashy looking skin for said character than whether there's narrative consistency with that character's
Yeah,
story.
man, that's sad. But it's so
Yep.
true. But it's also really sad.
As soon as you start looking at things through the Doomer lens, it's hard to take the Doomer lens off.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
man.
with that kind of stuff. Like, it's the unfortunate reality of the way things are now. Everything is like, I don't know, man. It just feels like nothing's sacred anymore. As someone who loved the original Modern Warfare trilogy, I'm just happy that we got an original version before the industry was this bad. I'm very happy that we got one that was as like beginning, middle, and end cohesive as the original one was. So at least we got a story with those characters in that proper form before this version of the industry came along and was like, right, how can we create 115 shampoo?
Bro, okay, hold on. I need to say one thing. Like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna get to the zombie cereal. We're gonna get there, okay? But,
oh no!
Yeah, we'll get there. First of all, though, to your point, I've already seen people on Twitter, like just like normie people on Twitter, whether it's in my replies or just generally around the place, saying, wow, I really want like this ghost skin or this price skin or what have you in the MP, like, and they're pointing to like an outfit from the campaign. And the fact that that is the sort of thought process of many of these players, personally speaking, I'm not judging their preferences. They can like what they like. That's fine, right? But to me, it's so weird because I've never been someone that's really cared about like buying skins in video games. It's just not been my like cup of tea. I've never been the guy to be like, oh, I need to buy all these cosmetics. I don't really care. Like, put me in the default soldier outfit and I'm still chilling. I'm happy. So the fact that that's so prevalent is it's like alien to my brain. I struggle to understand it almost. And so you remind me that those people are genuinely the majority, and I'm like in disbelief. My brain is in disrepair. I don't know what to do with myself about it. Yeah.
I think it's because as like the dominant generation of gaming changes from like Gen Y to Gen Z, there's obviously like different interests and like different expectations from games, and there's a very, very, very significantly different expectation from games between the generations. And unfortunately for our generation, even though I'm Gen Z, so I'm like betraying my generation saying this, but like that is the expectation of like the largest like group of players nowadays, that like, oh, I want to buy this in the store. Like, it's just it's the unfortunate reality of what it is, and nothing anybody says on YouTube unfortunately is ever going to change that. It's just how it's going to be until whatever the next like huge like tectonic plate shifting event is in gaming that changes people's like habits with how they treat games, or like you know how like when the battle pass came along, that was like the inception of the battle pass was like a tectonic plate shifting in gaming for me. Like, that was like a huge like marker of like, right, this is the next era of like gaming.
Yeah, and rightly so, I think. I mean, it was a model that was so disruptive. It completely shifted the way that everything was monetizing prior.
Yeah.
And I mean now it brings us to oh god. Am I trapped in this room? I'm trapped in this room. Oh god, hold on a second.
I'm pretty trapped behind electric as well.
No, don't you be dying. Okay, I'm out.
Oh.
Quick little mental reset. We're gonna pause the big brain discussion real quick. And where are you? And where is the box? And how do we survive past round 20 on Shi No Numa?
That is a very good question. I should know that as a Shi No Numa fan. I should definitely know the answer to all those questions you just asked. I'm in the main building. The
Okay,
box,
I'm in main as well. Box is in storage. I'm going to storage now.
Okay. All I'll say is maybe don't middle of the round because that is like the tightest part of the entire map. The best place. I mean, I know Shi No Numa really well for solo, but not at all.
Okay,
well
come with
for
me. We're gonna go. We're gonna go
Okay.
storage together. We're gonna hold out in there and just gonna hit the trap.
Hell yeah. Right, I'm down. I'm here. I'm with
Okay.
you. Oh, there's a lot of them.
What
I've got one
the-
of them.
Okay, nice.
Ooh.
Oh, and the
hell
nuke.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll get set up. We'll rebuild some barriers, and then we will pray.
Bro,
That's
remember when
the next
barriers
step.
were in zombies?
Dude, I've had so many conversations with devs about barriers no longer being a thing.
Really?
But yes. But first, we really need to focus because otherwise we will die in here. I do have a PP, but it's out of ammo.
No, not like this. I think the trap's on for like 30 seconds, so you can spin the box like once or twice.
Yeah, I'll get
Keep
another
hitting
spin in here. Okay. Oh, I've got the friggin' Garand with a noob tube on it.
Oh, definitely use that. You definitely won't unalive yourself in World at War with that.
Yeah.
Definitely use that. Okay, I'll take a bar. That's all right.
Okay. Let's get out.
Please.
Oh, God bless.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna
Thank
spin
you
the box
for the
again.
gods. Okay, yeah.
Is how long till the trap's up, do you reckon?
I feel like it's a round basis, so like resets every round, but round is a shorter one, you know.
Okay, I'm spinning again. I'm just gonna try and move it, basically.
Yeah.
I got a double barrel shotgun right now. Okay, I got Teddy. Perfect.
Nice.
I do have the Garand with the noob tube, but we won't have. Oh wait, I could. Hold on. Maybe we can make a crawler with it.
Oh yeah, go on. Hey,
Yay!
it was useful for the first time in 5,260 days. It was useful. They
Now
said
you
this
take
day
that
would never
back, or I'll.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh.
Hell yeah. So I could really do with a decent second weapon. Where's the box?
It's over at Richtofen in his quarters, yeah.
Yes, let's go. So zombie cereal. I mean, I don't know if I even need to say anymore. I have to say, I just real quick, I really do want to make this point with utmost seriousness. Well, actually, hold on. Look how gorgeous the box looks here. Bro, it looks ethereal. That looks so good.
That glow is so nice.
So the zombie cereal, the point I wanted to make... Oh,
Your original Easter egg.
bro, that scared the hell out of me. The zombie cereal, right? I feel like it has to be some kind of either billionaire sort of like handshake deal thing, or there's some kind of nepotism involved here. And I say this for one reason and one reason alone, okay? Activision are so aggressive with protecting the Raygun, baby. The space that they have in their media to like advertise stuff, right? They are very, very, very anal about it. For the zombies reveal in the global reveal of the game to pivot and focus on somebody else's product doesn't make sense to me unless they have some kind of vested interest in some description.
I thought it was like something that Activision were making with like a partnership with another company. Was it like a whole like focus on somebody else's company?
So the first zombies gameplay that we got was via the reveal of a box of cereal of this other brand's cereal. It seems like a cool brand. It's like a woman-owned business and like cool, like hell yeah, nothing like sort of no red flags. The issue is just that I don't understand why Call of Duty is suddenly so willing to promote this zombie cereal and like the worldwide reveal of zombies gameplay on the cereal. And then during COD Next, the worldwide like gameplay reveal continuously of like actual uninterrupted gameplay. The devs pull out the box of cereal and they're like, well, by the way, cereal, we got cereal. And they're sitting there. It's like awkward. They don't know what to say. They're like, this is a cool thing, I guess. Why is it there? Like,
I mean, bro, how do you talk about a cereal for more than like 10 seconds?
it's so unusual to me. And like, I don't really care. It's just a point of fascination for me at this point. Like, how has the world gotten to this point where Call of Duty of all companies, Call of Duty who cannot make merch without slapping their ugly ass logo across the forehead of the goddamn thing, how have they been the ones to make cereal and then actually be comfortable advertising it? Like, what?
You know what? Okay, coming from Halo, that's actually not that extraordinary because for like a year and a half before Infinite came out, the only news we would ever get from about Infinite wasn't from the devs, wasn't from Xbox, wasn't through streams, through videos. It was through toys, but not just toys.
Wait, what?
Toy leaks.
Wait. Okay, hold on. First of all, come with me. We're going to camp in here for this round. Toy leaks?
So there was a whole era where it was the only info we got was from toy leaks. That was it. That was it. It literally became a running joke. It's like, oh, can't wait for them to leak the legendary ending to the back of like a Mega Bloks toy or something.
Wait, for real?
Oh my
God.
I'm gonna go down on dog round.
Dude, I was red. I don't blame you. Okay, let me, because I've got ray gun as well. It's gonna hurt me if I'm not careful. Let me try and get to the end of round.
Yep.
Oh my God, this is terrifying. No, dog.
Ooh.
I'm sticking it.
Legend.
Oh. Okay, let's keep that dog on me. Oh, there's a Betty here. No.
Oh, no.
No.
That looks so cheap from my perspective. He just like fully barreled into it.
Also, bouncing Bettys are so glorious. I miss stacking like 50 of these things around the map. I'm going to go buy some right now for that exact purpose.
I remember crashing the game on Doritos on Xbox, putting so many in a corner on the catwalk.
They were the days, dude. That's the classic zombies experience right there. 6, then left mouse to plaints of Betty. Don't mind if I do. So was it basically just that they had brand partnerships with various toy companies, but the toy companies didn't have awareness about the like Halo community's eagerness for information, and so they just leaked everything? Was it because of that?
Not intentionally. So when the game got delayed, there were a bunch of I got wingmilled.
Okay, like, talk to me while you're down, and I'll podcast it. Here we go.
Okay, so when Inferno got delayed, there were a ton of like toy contracts for toys that were meant to come out like a month, 2 months, 3 months after launch to fit in with the launch and everything and the hype, and people were buying stuff. But when the game got delayed, those contracts are still in place, so they basically had to fulfill them. They had to release toys.
Oh no! Hold on.
That like, live! I believe in you. I believe.
I'm good. Oh what?
No! I just watched you go prone and knew what happened.
The ray gun is so bad for splash damage in this game. Oh my God. That is actually painful. I literally hit myself once with a ray gun, and I took 1 zombie hit, and I was dead.
And ironically, take me back.
Yeah, actually, fair enough.
There were a ton of toys that were meant to come out a few months after launch, and they had contracts to release then for the toy company so they could make the money. But the game got delayed, but those contracts didn't get delayed. So basically, there was a ton of stuff coming out for not just like multiplayer Spartans, but like characters and stuff before launch. Like there were some characters we learned of before launch that were like quite important. That we literally learned of because of toys. Because of like little like Mega Bloks figures. There was I wouldn't remember making a 10-minute, 15-minute long breakdown video of one picture of 2 toys on a piece of kitchen roll for 15 minutes. That was content in that era of Halo.
Okay, you know what? In that case, I take everything I said back about zombie cereal. Bring on more zombie cereal, dude. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I just wasn't aware. This is actually a nostalgic marketing practice, so fair enough, dude.
Exactly. Bring back the kitchen roll leaks.
Jesus
Christ.
The
kitchen roll era of Halo. Bring it back.
I wanna bring this all back to that sort of like central question of like, okay, with all of this said and done, zombies as a mode, do you feel like it can survive as a live service game going forward? Like the Modern Warfare 3 live service zombies experience? Do you think that there's room for that to actually be really fun, or are you just like against it? Like, where do you stand?
I'd say I'm pretty anti live service in the like
just in general
in AAA. Yeah.
Okay.
I on paper it's great, but only on paper. Like, it's never executed how it should be executed. I think zombies can survive, absolutely, and theoretically, entirely hypothetically, it could do great. It could do amazing as it. But I think zombies thrives from having a small number of highly varied, highly stylized experiences released over the game's year. So with live services, you'll get like obviously like you might get like the odd maybe like one new map, like it might be like a new Warzone map or something with zombies on or whatever with Modern Warfare 3. But I think where zombies thrives, at least in terms of its like post-launch content, is when you have maps and areas set in such varying locations. Like I think of like for example, like a BO2 was a great example of this. Even though like Die Rise sucked, trying to say it wasn't great, yada yada. You had a map set in like a nuked like western like Oklahoma. Obviously wasn't set in Oklahoma, but like an Oklahoma, Nebraska like farm kind of thing, and like these little like American towns. Then you had a map set in this high-rise like Chinese skyscraper. Then you had a map set in goddamn Alcatraz. Then you had a map set in like it wasn't El Dorado, but it was like an El Dorado type thing where it's like this lost city that's been buried. Then you had a map set in like in World War I France. These very like hyper stylized, hyper unique environments that all stand out so distinctly from one another and provide like very memorable experiences based purely on their aesthetics and their like raw designers alone. Whereas when you have live service, and it's less about like the macro updates and more about like the micro updates of the game. So like instead of a macro update, like a whole new map or, whole new map, you have a micro update where it's like, oh, there's a new boss on this map, or like, oh, there's a new like mini quest.
Limited time event, that sort of stuff.
Yes. Right. And zombies, it can definitely survive with that. It could definitely do well with it. But I think for it to do well in that case, it needs to be executed perfectly. And call me a pessimist. I don't think it will be executed perfectly.
Interesting.
I don't have the faith. I'm so like, a lot of the modern AAA gaming industry, I just don't have particularly high hopes for really anything. Like, I go into a lot of stuff expecting like the bare minimum. And if it goes above that, then I'm happy and I'm like optimistic and excited because it's beating my expectations.
Fair. Okay. I feel like that's a fair position to take, seeing as like you're like me, you're a content creator that does this stuff for a living, and if you constantly allow yourself to be swept up in the marketing campaigns of all of these games that we're covering, you very quickly realize that marketing is so distinctly different from reality, and you're just setting yourself up to have a bad time. So like, why do that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think for me, the idea of the sort of micro updates, and again, it's the idea, right? But like the idea of the living, breathing world of zombies, that's exciting. I spoke to Jason Blundell about this back in the day, and it's something I've said many a time, where zombies has always delivered its story in chapters. Basically, we get a new map, it's a new chapter, new map, new chapter, etc. The narrative consumption of that takes maybe a week. Like it's not usually much longer than that, but the idea of there being that chapter-based system, but also simultaneously having room to tell a story over the interim weeks and months, I think that's a really cool concept. Like the idea of tuning in for like a Destiny weekly update, and for example, like let's say we're playing Naruto on Toten, and there's a truck that has like a weird generator hanging out of it, like this week. And then you tune in next week and the generator's built a little bit further and we can speculate further about what that is. Like that hypothetically is really cool to me as a storytelling device, because it means that my continued engagement as a fan is rewarded, as opposed to it being completely equal whether or not I'm playing the game a week after launch, a month after launch, or a year after launch. Like in the old model, those are equal experiences. Whereas in this model, your continued participation would be valuable in some sense, and that excites me. Like, I mean, the idea of scarcity as a marketing tool and as a mover of people is nothing new. We see that all the time. To bring that into games in a way that is not something that reduces the experience, I wouldn't want it to feel like, oh, I don't have time to sort of tune in for this, and therefore, like, I don't have a way to keep up with the story now and it's bad. I wouldn't want it to go that far. Just to add and round out the storytelling methods in a sense, so it wasn't just one singular method. I think that would be really awesome. But to your point, the reality of likelihood that they actually get there is so low, and the sort of replacement thing that we would get from that would be an experience that feels like it's maybe had the core of it gutted to save it for the weekly updates, or it would be the weekly updates themselves would be really uninteresting, or would set expectations really poorly, or they would do the weekly updates, but in Call of Duty fashion, they would just explain exactly what the update is in a blog post a week before it came out, and there'd be no mystery to the situation whatsoever. They wouldn't be able to treat us as adults. They'd treat us as sort of prepubescent children that had no reading comprehension and no media comprehension, and wouldn't be able to piece together a couple of basic kind of questions posed by some kind of weekly update. Instead, it would have to be all spoon-fed to us. Like, that's the sort of thing that Zombies has sort of descended into, I feel like, in a big way. And the main game as well at this point. I mean, this is Modern Warfare 3 was like baby's first COD campaign in terms of the narrative complexity. There is zero introspection required of the player. There are zero real questions posed that make you stop and think about the world or the universe or anything. It's just, okay, there's a soldier, and then the soldier kills a guy, and happy. Like, that's the extent of it.
It is literally served to you on a plate with the finest cutlery on planet Earth put side by side for you to eat it with. Like, it's the most, like, spoon-fed story that, like you said, requires no introspection, requires no, like, logical thought or, like, any form of, like, processing whatsoever. It's just, like, it's there, you see it, you get it, and that's it. And it's like a very surface level thing. There's no like reading between the lines and anything.
And I worry about that for zombies, because zombies has obviously come so distinctly from a place of being the opposite of that, and really requiring you to question everything at all times. And so to be in a world where we are already starting to be spoon-fed a lot of that material, because there is a lack of trust with the developers, I feel like, and with Activision, perhaps driven by focus testing they've done. I don't want to sort of discount that possibility. I think that's maybe the case, but there's a lack of trust in letting the player be confused about stuff if it's in their best interests. And in zombies, it is in your best interest to not know what's going on a lot of the time. That's genuinely the way that the story's been successful, and I feel like should continue to be. And so in that world, when zombies is now solidly in the Modern Warfare universe, and has been for a couple of years, where is the room and the breadth for them to tell weird and wacky stories where we don't have all the answers all the time? And I question whether that world exists, and I hope that it does, because that's the story I want to be told. But I'm worried, man. I'm constantly worried about that.
You see, I think, again, it comes back to this whole, like, MCU approach they're taking with this Modern Warfare reboot story, where, like, the zombie story is now canon in it, and with canon within that zombie story, the Chaos story is also canon now, and, like, everything has to be canon in the same universe, and everything has to be, like, interlinked. Nothing's allowed to breathe on its own anymore. Nothing is allowed to exist as its own entity, on its own. Like, for all the like, the shit people gave, like, Advanced Warfare Zombies, and, like, a lot of it was very, very, like, fair, I still appreciate that stuff, and Infinite Warfare Zombies as well, for the most part. I appreciate them because they were very self-contained experiences that tried something different, didn't always work, but they had a very clear vision for the most part, and they were allowed to just try something different that, if it didn't work, so what? It didn't work. It's one game of zombie stuff, and the next game we're doing something else anyway, so it doesn't matter. That doesn't exist anymore, because everything has to be so interlinked, that everything has to be so safe, because as soon as one chain in that link starts to get weak, the rest of them do as well.
Right.
Like, there's no cohesiveness once you lose one part of it, and like you said, this whole, like, zombies is canon in the Modern Warfare universe, I genuinely cannot put into words how much I dislike that. That is, like, the antithesis of what zombies is to me. Like, zombies is not. I love personally how grounded. Not grounded in, like, a realistic sense, but, like, grounded in reality. A lot of the story elements were in, like World of War, Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 in particular, and I feel like that just can't happen now. That Modern Warfare universe is like. One of my friends put it perfectly the other day. It's like all the characters are like these toys that are playing in countries that don't actually exist, in conflicts that don't actually make any, like, proper sense when you look at it logically. It just all feels, whilst it's trying to put up this facade of being so real, it all feels so fake.
I back that. I mean, it's characters going from Kastovia to Sochi to Verdansk, and I'm like, what?
Like, yeah, exactly. It's literally like a kid has got a lot of toys out and he's playing with them and making up these make-believe countries. Like, oh, and then Captain Price went to Vostok in Verdansk and defeated Vladimir Makarov, but then Vladimir Makarov came back because he's like Thanos in the Avengers and he can survive these crazy things. But then XYZ goes on and on and on, and it just never ends. And it's I really and again, going back to what you said, like, about the whole everything being answered and spoon-fed to you in zombies. That is literally the antithesis of zombies. Like, the whole point of zombies is, like, right, so you're in this very, like, two-dimensional feeling map that's, like, pretty simple, survive zombies, but then, hang on, you read this thing on the wall, or you read this note, or you decipher this cipher, or you listen to an audio log, and there's so much beneath the surface that doesn't jump out at you. It's not there until you start digging, and that, I feel like that just, for the this is obviously the odd little bit here and there, but for the most part, that style of, like, investigative storytelling just isn't there anymore.
Has that ever really been a big thing in Halo, do you feel like?
Not really. The only little bit of that was maybe Halo 3's terminals, which were like these I adore those things, because, but ironically, they remind me a lot of the way that Zombies told its story in the early days. Very investigative. A lot of reading between the lines is required. Some of the terminals are written as propaganda from the other side, so you have to, like, read the propaganda.
Dude, that's
really,
sick.
Cool.
That's so
really
cool.
In fact, do you know about the terminals in
Yeah.
3?
So when we played through, I read through, I think, like, maybe 6 of them. I don't think I got all of them in the playthrough, but I didn't realize that some were propaganda and others were. That's so cool. As a theme, that's sick. I love that.
basically the way it works is that, to cut a very long story short without going full like Halo lore nerd on you, I'm gonna do it for about 30 seconds here. So brief stuff. So basically the terminals are these terminals that were left by the Foreigners in their final days when during the Fallen Flood War 100,000 years ago, when the Flood had consumed the entire galaxy, and the Foreigners have been pushed back to the Ark, and their only thing left to do was fire the Halo. And it's basically, the terminals are like their last logs of those days of what they did, like cataloging humans and like all the other species in the galaxy so they can exist beyond the Halo's firing. But then what happens when you stay in the terminal too long is they corrupt. Basically, this entity takes over them called Ghost 713, which it turns out is a character called Menachem Bias. I don't know how much you know about Menachem Bias.
The only stuff I've ever learned from Halo is what I've intuited, because I played Halo like I was playing zombies. Like, I didn't look up anything. I just was like, okay, I'm going to intuit what the game is telling me, and I'm going to stop there. And I friggin' loved it for it. It was so much fun, dude. So much fun.
That is hands down the best way to do it. So, again, long story short, Menachem Bias was like the most powerful AI that the Foreigners ever created. It commanded their entire military against the Flood. It was literally like the entity in charge of the Foreigner and technically the galaxy's effort against the Flood during the Fallen Flood War.
Cool.
But what happened was this entity that was basically the first Gravemind corrupted it and turned it over to the side of the Flood, and it betrayed the Foreigners, which essentially like catalyzed the fall of the Foreigners and caused them to fire the Halos. But what happened is basically at the very end of the war, there's an AI the Foreigners create called Offensive Bias that beats Menachem Bias, and they capture Menachem Bias, and it stands trial for its sins, and it basically gets punished to like an eternity of atonement in the desert, basically. But what happens is all those logs on the Ark, they are, throughout that period of atonement, when the Foreigners are dead and before humanity's like spacefaring again, Menachem Bias basically alters those terminals to make itself not seem as bad as it is. So even though it does genuinely want atonement, it wants to aid humanity to atone for its sins against the Foreigners, and it wants to aid them in destroying the Flood, it still like alters the text in them, and it like twists the events a little bit to make it not seem as bad.
That's so freaking cool.
That whole era of the Halo universe and the books that came out, the Foreigner trilogy of books that came out, which, by the way, if you haven't read them, are unbelievably like unreal, but like genuinely like 11 out of 10 books. That whole era and type of storytelling for Halo reminds me so much of like the peak of zombie storytelling, which I think is partly why I love it so much, and in turn is partly why I love zombies so much, because the two feel really similar. It's just this very like cryptic, deep, and like horror-filled storytelling.
Yeah. Is that when Halo 3 came out, did you know that was like propagandist revisions of the real story, or did you not know that at that time?
No, at the time we didn't know that.
That's so
obviously,
cool. Oh my god, I'm like frothing at the mouth right now, bro. That's so sick. What the hell?
I will caveat it a little bit with saying that the Foreigner trilogy of books, which is like, it's a trilogy of books that literally cover the entire like Foreigner era of the galaxy with the Fallen Flood War. That they were done by 343, whereas the Halo 3 terminals were done by Bungie, and there were definite like differences in opinions and how Halo's story should be told.
Sure.
So I don't know. I genuinely don't know if Bungie's idea was ever that Menachem Bias had twisted the words in there, but the canonical version is that he did, because the Fallen trilogy basically like hints at it.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that's just so freaking cool, dude. That's so sick. That is so sick. Like,
it's so good.
Desperately miss stories like that being present in these video games that we love. I miss it so goddamn much, man.
Yep. Stories that require like actual like investigation, reading between the lines, and like actual like logical thought processing, as opposed to just reading it and be like, yep, that's that.
Yeah, dude. The era of reading the zombies story is my least favorite era of it. It's truly just so much less impactful. And I worry that even if the devs did right, like let's say Craig Houston tomorrow comes along and he's like, you know what? I've got this story that is so deeply inspired by like all of that Menachem Bias stuff and all the old zombie stuff, like that theme, that vibe. It's inspired by that exact stuff. But if it was delivered in a way where we just read it and that was it, like I'm not talking like Terminals read it, where it was like we read it and then we processed it, and then we learned more about it from environmental cues in the world, and then even just reading it was an experience in itself because the terminal corrupts as you read it. Like, I'm not talking that degree. I'm talking you're in a menu in the game and you just read the story. If that happens, surely none of us will think that the story is any good. If I'm playing a video game for a video game story, I don't want a book story. I want a video game story. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. See, Halo is kind of lucky in that sense, in that from the very get-go, like the first piece of media to ever be released for Halo wasn't even Halo 1. It was Fall of Reach, the book. Like that released before Halo 1. So like even though like Halo is objectively a game first and a book second, it's not a novel series, it's a game series.
Sure.
Halo is more naturally attuned to that. Whereas like it kind of reminds me of back in the day, you know the Zombies comic they did in between BO3 and BO4?
Yes.
I thought the story for that was quite cool, but I strongly disagreed with presenting it in a comic because I don't think very two-dimensional ways of presentation like that are what Zombies should be doing. I don't think that doesn't hit the strength of Zombies as a mode. The strength of Zombies as a mode is literally what we're playing right now. A map that is a box that you survive in, but then like that seems so simple, but then you read something on the wall, like I said earlier, or you read like you listen to like an audio log or radio, and like, oh, hang on, there's more going on here. And then you can start to piece stuff together. Like environmental storytelling is the absolute strongest feat of Zombies as a mode, and it really upsets me that like it just doesn't really do it anymore, or when it does, it's so like in your face and like tool tipped and like, hey, you should read this. Like there's literally like a HUD element on the screen looking at it. It's like it's just lost all the subtlety.
Losing subtlety is probably the best way to summarize it. And so to sort of look at the idea of like, okay, yeah, we're gonna get a year of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, especially when, I don't want to say this like it's official, but it certainly feels like the Modern Warfare devs really care about keeping the Modern Warfare universe feeling like Modern Warfare, and Zombies should never feel like Modern Warfare. That is the last thing it should feel like. Yeah, it gives me a lot of room to be like, well, that's a bit scary, you know, it's not giving me a lot of hope. Like I'm a little sketched out by this.
The two are very, very different. I mean, I that's why I don't like the idea of them like being in the same universe, because I think the styles and the motives of both of them are just so radically different. Like it wouldn't have worked back in the day, and I don't think it will work now either, because you can't have all like Modern Warfare is not really a series about mystery and like about like figuring the story out for yourself. It's a glorified like Michael Bay movie, basically. Right. With like a little bit of like Sicario we're throwing in nowadays as well, and like Zero Dark 30 a little bit. It's not this like, I'm trying to think of a movie equivalent of like, so the way I look at it kind of is Zombies kind of reminds me of True Detective, if you've ever seen it.
I haven't seen it, but tell me why.
So that is not a show that on your first watch you can take everything in. Like it will take you like 3 or 4 watches to really understand, like to really see the plot points forming, to really notice how they tie together, and to notice like, I mean that show is full of Easter eggs. Oh nice, that's pop it whatever. That show is one that is absolutely packed to the brim with Easter eggs. There's so many Easter eggs in it. Like it's full. Whereas like I think Modern Warfare has always been like I said, like a Zero Dark 30 or like Michael Bay movie, where it's all about like how badass the player feels, cool like military drama, military action thriller, but like not anything that really requires you to like use your brain loads. Like even the original Modern Warfare trilogy, I love it. But I'm not gonna sit here and say it was like like god tier storytelling. It wasn't like by any means. It was really cool and I love it, but it wasn't like, I don't know, like, well, True Detective style storytelling. It was much easier to consume than that. Which is fine. Like that's not a bad thing. It's just the two don't really mix when you try and put them together.
In Modern Warfare 3, we have a story that somehow has not really been successful in even the Michael Bay storytelling. It's just done what I feel like is not very much of anything. Then you have the Treyarch story coming in, which is meant to be that True Detective style. And what result do we get from that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously we're saying this pre-launch right now, and maybe by the time you're watching this video, guys, it'll be post-launch and we'll be like, damn, this story is kicking ass, dude. And wouldn't that be joyful? But I'm just a little worried Victorian orphan trying to get his next meal, you know? That's all I am, okay? So, like, long may it satisfy us and make us happy, but until the game's out, we're just not gonna know, I guess.
It's kind of just guessing at this point, but I think... I mean, okay, this is a very, very hot take that I think you'll probably disagree with. I even think that in Zombies, I don't even think cutscenes should be in Zombies.
Really?
I think cutscenes are maybe the odd one, like for maybe the end of a story arc or something like that.
Okay.
And that's not to say that I don't like them either. Like, I love BO3s. I thought BO3s were really good. But I feel like zombie storytelling should be so subtle and so, like, implicit to the gameplay and the level design that it shouldn't take you out of the gameplay. I'll try and get you. I don't think at any point you should be taken out of the gameplay. Besides maybe the odd individual Easter egg step or something.
Yeah.
The odd, like, little thing like that. I think cutscenes are pushing it too far. I think almost all of zombie stories should be experienced firsthand by the player actively doing something in-game. Like, it's a silly example, right? But one of the greatest kind of styles of zombie storytelling is something on Derice where, remember there's that brick near the Thompson?
Yep.
There's just like a literal brick on the floor.
Yep.
It looks like part of the environment. You walk up to it, you press X or F or whatever, and all of a sudden, hang on, there's a note here that talks about I can't, was it Samantha or something like that. That right there is like the epitome of what zombie storytelling should be. Not conveying it to you in a format like a cinematic where it's very like, okay, you sit here, you consume the cinematic, it's done. There's not much.
Let's continue this discussion upstairs in the camping spot.
Oh, okay.
Because we've both got ray guns, and I feel like this is gonna be a good time.
Let's take this heated discussion to the style hand grenades.
Yeah, let's take it to the roof. I've never actually heard that sentiment before. I kind of love it. It's very extreme. A big part of me is like, you know what? That makes total sense. Like, the stuff I do love in zombies is when it's not in a cutscene. Like, I would go as far as saying the zombies timeline is one of the things that, like, if I had a choice, I would wipe that from history. I feel like the zombies timeline was I think that was a mistake.
Doing that, but it was worth it. Yep.
I really think the outcome of it was not what it set out to achieve at all. It actually kind of did the opposite. So I'm very, very on board with it there. But the idea of it even extending to cutscenes is like quite an extreme version, but I'm kind of backing it. Like, if we did have a world where there were no cutscenes, and there had never been cutscenes, and instead they found increasingly inventive ways to storytell. Oh, there's a nuke over there. Let's save that for midway through round 1. Or round 16, sorry. If they found increasingly inventive ways to tell the stories that wasn't just radios, like if it went beyond that in cool ways, maybe it's just like an NPC in the map that is present while you play. I feel like that could be valid, but just not going to the extent of being like, yeah, we're gonna do a 4-minute cutscene of just like 2 characters talking. Like, maybe you take those away. Maybe that leaves more room for interpretation and is therefore better. Like, it also means that you have so much more room for unreliable narrators and things like that, which is exactly why we were nerding out about the mendicant bias thing a second ago. And
exactly,
it's like if we're getting a radio, there's still room for me to be like, wait, was this character actually saying this, or were they at gunpoint? Like, were they reading like someone else's message? Like, that sort of stuff's cool as hell.
You know what? I am by no means a Cold War fan. I strongly dislike Cold War zombies. However, one of the coolest things that mode did that I genuinely love is on 5AC when Ravenov is behind that. Was it Ravenov? One of them.
Yep.
Some guy is behind the screen. When that screen popped up and he was there, I genuinely geeked out. Peck, that was it. Peck.
Yeah.
Dude, I genuinely screamed when that happened. I was like, I'd wanted the zombies to do that for like 10 years. I absolutely love that. Like, for all its faults, for me personally, I know a lot of people love Cold War, but I'm very much like a World at War, BO1, BO2 kind of OG fan, priority person, to be honest with you. But like, that was one of the coolest things the mode has ever done for me, because it was exactly what I'd wanted over cutscenes. Literally what you said, like NPCs in the game. Because a lot of the zombie storytelling is stuff that you figure out yourself in game by your action. It's by like you going up and pressing E on that brick on Derice, or by looking at the cipher in game on Zetsubo and the water or whatever. When you do a cutscene, when you relinquish the player control, it takes away from that. Whereas when you have an NPC in game that like you said, maybe you can, or maybe like say the thing on 5AC with Peck where he's behind the screen, maybe you can only see Peck. You don't know, like maybe, I don't know, some bad guys behind the screen holding a gun at him, or maybe someone has trapped him in there that he's not talked about yet.
Or maybe he's not human, he's a robot in a big metal ball body like Sophia. Like, there's room. It gives room for that stuff. Yeah,
exactly. That kind of stuff where it's like actually tangible in game and not just something the game plays for you. Is that's funny enough. That's one of the major issues I have with Halo 4 story. Halo 4 story did away with Halo 3 terminals and literally did the exact same thing. It replaced the Halo 3 terminals with just like extra cutscenes, which were actually, they were really cool because they were like visualizations of the 4 in a Flood War. And certain like major events in it, which was really cool, but they were just like so two-dimensional compared to this literal text that corrupts, that has like all these little like extra little bits of text and like lines of code in the background.
The reduction of the method of storytelling being a game to a movie. And I didn't come here for a movie, I came here for a game.
Worded it a billion times better than I ever could. That is exactly what I was trying to get across.
Perhaps the true goal for the developers in Modern Warfare 3 and ongoingly in Halo Infinite. I mean, I would love actually to pivot to chat about how like, Halo Infinite storytelling is going these days, because that's had a... I'm sure that game's had an interesting sort of run over the last couple of years, but maybe the thing that they need to sort of focus on if they want to capture that sort of joy again is to really just lean into those game-specific methods of delivering the story in the first place, and the rest can kind of follow after that. But without that decision, it's already a non-starter kind of thing, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab the
I agree.
Insta. But yeah, how's Halo Infinite been dealing with? Because Halo Infinite's weird. It's a live service game. Let's save the nuke for the rest of the Insta. I think you mentioned to me just before we started, it only really became feature complete at like season 5. Is that right?
Season 5 was the first season. Oh, max ammo.
Nice.
Season 5 was the first season where I genuinely felt like most of the content was additive rather than stuff that should have been there day one. It was the first time with an update that game has ever had where I was like, right, you know what? This is a true... I basically, in my video, I basically called it Season 1. This feels like what Season 1 should have been. So to answer your question of how Halo Infinite's storytelling is going, the storytelling Infinite is... it's not going.
Oh god, oh god, oh god.
In a sense that, not like it's bad, not in a sense that like it's slow, in the sense that it's literally not going at all anymore because they scrapped it.
Wait, what?
So the live service story...
Give me context, what was the live service story? Like, or is there none? What?
Well, so it's very weird. So this live service story, it started out with do you remember the Academy thing in Infinite? Like the Spartan training ground where they do the tutorial.
Yes, vaguely, yeah.
So it basically revolved around that, but Season 2's cutscenes were so laughably bad that 3 of the cutscenes involved one character standing still.
Okay.
And that was the cutscene, and literally it was a running joke that one of the last cutscene you got for like beating the battle pass at the end of that season's story was like, screw you, go play multiplayer. That was literally it.
Okay.
But then Season 3 came out, and all of a sudden, it had this, like, badass pre-rendered cutscene, like, genuinely really cool pre-rendered cutscene, where this Spartan is fighting, like, the drones from, like, Halo 2, 3, and Reach that we hadn't seen since Reach. All of a sudden, he's fighting the drones with the DMR, and he's, like, dumping into the... It's really cool. Really cool. And then the in-game cutscenes genuinely start doing like zombie level storytelling where like one of the multiplayer maps, this door changes on the map to reveal the Oni logo, and it's like all along you've been playing on this map, but it's actually like a secret Oni facility that they were hiding. It's like, dude, that's so cool. And then the door opens and there's this massive facility underground, this door that you've run past like a billion times in matchmaking. There's like this massive like mine shaft and there's this huge facility underground. So cool. And then that ends. That's it. It just stops. They just cut it.
Wait, so that was which season?
Season 3.
And they just haven't done any more since then?
Nope. They've officially ended it. They've officially scrapped it.
Like they've been like, hello everyone, in this week's update, we are not doing this story anymore.
Quite literally. Quite literally. That's it.
Bro, make it make sense. Why?
So the reason was they had to put the resources to the game's like core features, like desync, which is still horrendously bad in the game.
Really?
So that's been fixed. And to be fair, the game obviously has not been the roaring success that I think Microsoft wanted it to be. So I would imagine that they don't have the funds to dedicate to this whole like both wide and deep live service experience that they originally wanted.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
But it sucks because the story was so bad for so long, and then this literally the season where all of a sudden it makes a complete 180 turnaround,
and that's when it ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
It doesn't even. The worst thing is it doesn't even end. It ends on a cliffhanger.
Oh no!
People have had to leak the season 4 cutscenes because there are 2 cutscenes that are meant to release in season 4 that were like probably 70% finished, and it's just got to the point where people just leaked them and you can see them. And they were pretty cool, to be honest with you. They're pretty cool. But they've cut it now, and it's not going back either. And the most annoying thing is, season 5 is like the flood season. And
you must be thriving then, if it's flood stuff.
It's been a pretty fun month. I'm not gonna lie. There's been a lot of stuff to talk about. For the first time in literally 6 years, there's been so much to talk about regarding the flood. It feels so cathartic.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. To put it into your terms, for the first time since Infinite Warfare released, I'm finally getting to talk about it again.
Okay. Holy smokes, that's a really long time. Jesus Christ.
It sucks because it finally got good, and that's when the plug got pulled. And I kind of get it.
Are you out of ray gun, by the way?
Oh yeah, I'm so screwed right now. I have like 40 rounds left in the MG42, and I'm done.
Okay.
Oh, look
wait for it. Wait.
Oh.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I will unalive myself with a Regan now for that.
It's all good.
Yeah, no, it sucks. It was finally getting good. It was finally getting like, dude, the stuff that they did in season 3, it wasn't anything major. I'm not gonna sit here and say it was like Halo 2 level of storytelling, but like, it was a type of storytelling that I'd wanted Halo to do for years, where they used like existing assets that we're really familiar with, and all of a sudden change
They have
them.
new meaning. Yeah.
Yes, just like how zombies is done over like so long. I like it. I always like it when there's like crossover in storytelling styles. So I do think the zombies, the classic zombie storytelling style, could work so well in Halo. Whether it's in a campaign or firefight or live service story or whatever, it could work so well. And that was like the closest we'd probably ever got to that. And that's when we cut it off.
So
that was good.
Does this mean that Halo Infinite is now no longer getting narrative content, period? It's just over? Or or not? Also, I'm gonna try grouping zombies up. If you can hold the window, I'm just gonna try and do that, and I'll like scream shoot if I'm desperate for shooting.
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea if this is gonna be very horrendously
risky.
bad or okay, it's bad. It's bad.
Yep. Okay, Karen in the corner. So the live service story is done permanently. It's not coming back. It's not like we shelved this for like a few seasons and we'll reevaluate. Like, it's gone. It's done now.
Oh my god. Okay, so I thought Halo Infinite was gonna get campaign DLC. Is that just not a thing?
It was never officially confirmed, but in a similar way to the way that Infinite was never confirmed to be an open world game until we first saw gameplay of the campaign, but everyone knew it was going to be open world. It was the same kind of thing with campaign DLC. But like, there was never any official confirmation, but everyone kind of knew that it was going to be happening because of the way the story was set up, the way the world was set up. Like, there's quite a few areas in the campaign world that like very clearly have more or were intended to have more purpose beyond what they have,
right?
Which I think would be so cool as well.
That's no longer like
that's
the end. There's none of that. It's never gonna happen now.
No, it's never happening.
Oh my god, that is actually like a loss for video game culture. Yep. Like, that is such a big loss.
You know what sucks as well? So did you ever see the legendary ending of Infinite?
Remind me of what happened.
It's when they talk about offensive bias being deployed.
Not sure.
So remember earlier when I said that Mendicant bias betrayed the Flood all those years ago, and then finally got beaten, and then it stood trial.
Yes.
So the AI that beat him is offensive bias, who was created solely for the purpose of countering Mendicant bias.
Yeah.
And this is the first time in the entirety of Halo lore since then that we've heard anything about offensive bias.
Okay.
It literally, like, he's a fan favorite character. Like, tell you what, you know what he's like? Remember in, like, the Zetsubo Garod era of zombies, what Peter McCain was like?
Bro, of course I do.
Why am I asking you that? Of all people, why did I even pose that question? So, let me rephrase that. You remember how Peter McCain was in that era of zombies, right? Well, offensive bias is, for all intents and purposes, but in Halo.
Is Halo's
Peter
has, like,
McCain.
more
Meaning. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Like, literally, he had not been mentioned in Halo's lore in the real world, in our reality, since 2013.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
But he was like a fan, like, that era of Halo's universe is like beloved by fans because of how like different but also Halo feeling it is, among many other things. And that was the first time we'd ever heard him mentioned since then, and it was like, bro, I would genuinely never forget the way I reacted to hearing that legendary thing. When we got Infinite early, I was the first person to beat the game on legendary. Like,
really?
I hold that badge of honor, and I will forever hold that badge of honor.
Yeah, as you should, bro. Those snipers must have been ruining your life constantly.
Bro, I went out of my way to min-max that game. Like, I can't even put it into words. Like, I grinded so hard. Like, I beat it on legendary 3 days after we got the code.
Oh my god, that was so early. What the hell?
And I remember, among like all of us that got the game early, like, we were talking about campaign stuff and like just we're talking about it with each other. And I literally, when I beat the campaign on legendary, I sent the most incoherent series of messages. I would honestly, for as long as I live, never forget my reaction to that, because it was like this culminated feeling of so many years of like, I've made so many videos about like Mendicant bias, offensive bias, because they all link in with the Flood. Oh, I'm screwed. I'm so screwed.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh, God.
I got more Regan ammo, though.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can work some magic here.
Okay, nice,
I'm sticking the res. I'm sticking it.
Nice. The crawlers, you're going to block them. We're good.
God.
Unfortunately, I can't do anything, so I have a still have to about shotgun. But
Okay, I have 3 shots left.
Godspeed, my friend.
Wait, where are we at end round? I think we're.
No, not even close.
Wait,
There's
we're
so
not?
Many coming through there's so many. Coming
Oh
through
my
that
god,
window.
I've got 2 shots.
Open this. Run around the map. I have to train together.
Okay,
Sorry,
I'm coming. Yeah, no, you're fine. I'm coming down. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, you go first. I'm host, so I should be able to get through a little bit more easily than you. Let's do a long loop of this room. Long loop here.
Yep.
I'm gonna reload my MG while we go.
Yep.
Okay, run. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm so stuck.
No. I just
You're fine. You're fine. Do a loop. Do a full loop, and you should be okay, I reckon.
Max ammo. I'll save that for when you get up.
I could just blitz the horde. You come to me, and I'll do it as you're reviving. There's a nuke.
Hell yeah, brother!
Frickin' A, dude.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Let me reload if you can.
Quick.
Yeah. Done.
Oh my god. I can breathe. Oxygen.
I have zombies up here. Let's just chill in separate zones for a minute.
But yeah, that's the law or lack thereof behind the current Infinite story. They're doing some stuff on Waypoint.
Okay.
They released this really cool short story the other day about like the first Spartan that ever got infected by the flood, which is really cool.
Ooh, okay.
It's like it's really well written stuff as well. It's really cool. It's just like the running trend with this stuff is like, this is really cool. Why is it not in game? This is really cool.
Right.
Why are we not playing this? Like,
yeah.
You're halfway there. Like you've gotten over the hardest hurdle of making something actually interesting, but now we can't play it. It's like, this story is so cool. Again, it genuinely reminded me of like a zombies kind of thing, where there's like this like deep dig on this asteroid that these private corporations are doing to like harvest like foreigner metals to build ships with.
Yeah.
And they find this weird ship and they go in to try and harvest it, and like it's a flood containment ship, and all these flood come out and there's a massive
that sounds
outbreak.
so cool, dude.
Really, really cool stuff. It's like, it's not playable. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I don't necessarily like knock 343 for it because they don't have the resources to make like a playable version of it. It's just a very unfortunate sequence of events that have led up to this that have made it so that thing can't have a playable version itself.
On that kind of note, there was a tweet that I saw the other day that I suspect you would have also seen. I don't know if this person is like reliable, and I don't know if I'm like, this is a can of worms that I'm about to open. I have no idea, okay?
Okay.
But I was just browsing Twitter on the toilet one day, as you do, and I'm pretty sure I saw a thread that was like, a lot of the business decisions behind Bungie original development situation, and obviously with 343, and is it Pete Parsons, the CEO of Bungie right now?
Bungie,
is that right?
Yeah.
And it was like digging into the people that made the decision to do what Bungie did, and do you know the tweet I'm referring to here or not?
I think so, yeah.
It was like a pretty long thread. It was a woman that tweeted it that said like I've been working on this for a while and I've not been able to say anything, but I'm gonna just tell you like some of the story now. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I think I saw that. I don't think I read it.
Okay,
but I think I saw it. It was like a very, very long post, right?
Yeah, it was a really, really long Twitter post, and it was really interesting. But I don't know if any of that stuff is true, for the record. Like, I literally have no idea who the person that tweeted it was. They could have been talking out their ass. I have no idea. I just don't know, right? I'm not saying anything one way or the other. But it was interesting because obviously right now, Bungie as a studio is in a really rough place, and is in a rough place not only in terms of its employees and the people it's had to let go and things like that, but just also in terms of its overall public image and public perception. It's maybe the worst it's ever been, I think.
Oh,
is that...
easily. I got Brandon, by the way. It's easily the worst. I don't think it's... I mean, was it DMG, one of the Bungie community guys, still there, tweeted this, and like, this is like the worst day at the company ever, and it definitely is. Yeah,
I don't really understand how they're gonna proceed from here. I mean, they got bought and then proceeded to burn absolutely all. Well, no, they burned like 30% of their goodwill by being the studio that did the audit of Naughty Dog and stopped Factions development. Or although Factions I feel like is still being developed, I think they just came out and said that like yesterday. So they at least put the brakes on that project in a big way by virtue of their audit. Also, how are we going to survive? How are we going to do this?
Maybe we should have thought about that before I killed the zombie. Small tactical error there. I say we just survive.
Okay, I'll try and create some kind of horde in this room, and I'm going to keep them alive, and we'll just see...
Let's stick to separate rooms, because it gets a lot more messy if you bunch up. I'll stay in the box room if you stay in the spawn room or upstairs.
Yeah, Bungie have burnt all this goodwill, and I just don't really know how they kind of come back from that. And it's a shame because I think Destiny is one of those games that sort of did the impossible thing. Like COD and Halo were COD and Halo, and then somehow they managed to break into that world and create Destiny. And that's like so much a greater achievement than I think people, oh my God, no, I'm okay. I'm okay.
You good?
Yep. It's so much greater an achievement than I think many give them credit for. The retention stats that game has is so insane. When you look at the average playtime of the Destiny player base, especially around their launches, it's like the average player is playing like 5 hours a day. It's so nuts.
Jesus.
And that's average. That's like normies are playing 5 hours a day of that game. Like, to have succeeded in doing that and to have achieved that is massive. And also much of the storytelling in Destiny is also very, very cool. Like, I've read some of their lore books and it's awesome and I love it, and I would love to be able to dig into that in more detail. But as like a content creator, it's kind of this weird position, and I'm sure you feel this way about Halo, and I'm sure Bife feels this way about Destiny too, where you're constantly kind of evaluating the weird disconnect between the thing that you love. So like for me, I love the zombie storyline. I just love that specifically. But it's the disconnect between that and what makes good business sense to continue to cover. And in a world where like Halo Infinite, for example, is no longer getting story content this season, you kind of have to ask yourself, does that mean I should just stop covering the Halo story? Like, is there a point where this doesn't make sense for me to do as my job anymore and I have to go somewhere else? And I've asked myself that about zombies many times. And like, should I pivot to Halo? And then I look at what Halo's been doing and I'm like, well, Halo's not in a great place either. Yeah. And should I pivot to Destiny? Well, now Destiny's not in a great place either. And I'm like, where is the good, safe storytelling going on? Like, where do we go for that these days? I just don't know.
You know, Destiny for me, like I've tried so many times to get into that game. I've never been able to get into it. It's just it's something about it for me. It's just not my kind of thing.
Fair.
But like that game, the way that it tells its story, there's like, honestly, has to guess, it is the single worst game for a newcomer ever. Like that's one of the major problems it has now. Like I think Data was talking about that in a video the other day. Like it's the single worst video game on planet Earth for a newcomer. Like I tried playing it again like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I logged in. I thought I was reading a different language. Like there's so many like Destiny buzzwords and like phrases and like terminology that I just don't get it. Currencies, types of mission. I just don't get it. Like that game has such a problem with onboarding new players. But at the same time, like you said, player retention for people that do play it is so high that they don't even really need to worry about that as much as other games do. Like their fan base is so hardcore that they will play that.
Bro, one zombie. There's like, I reckon we might be kind of close to, well, actually, no, I don't know. I've got 4 shots. You're clearing here. You're clearing here. Just send it. Send it.
Oh, no. The very good knockback stopped it. Yes, there we go.
Nice.
I think we are near end of round, actually.
It's not so good for onboarding new players. But their lore stuff, you read the Destiny Grimoire books, they are cool as hell. And it reminds me of what I imagine some of the Flood lore is as well. Just that kind of vibe of, it's also what I get from Halo 2 and with the Covenant and the religious dogma that they are spitting bars about the entire time. And like that, I adore that in stories. I think that just as a means of storytelling, or not as a means, but as a plot point to kind of revolve stories around, it's so fun. It's just so much fun when that is present. I loved that when I read the book, but again, the game is such a grind to continuously keep up with that it's like an unrealistic thing for me to get into and believe that I'm going to maintain my sanity, sadly.
It's almost impossible to keep up with it because like every season has like its own story that links into the greater story,
and they sunset stuff.
Like, yeah, exactly. That's what I don't get. Like they've sunset the launch campaign for the game. Okay, I will try my best.
There's a lot there.
They've sunset the launch campaign for the game. So the campaign that if you went out and bought the disc was on the back of the box is no longer in the game, which I find that such an insane style of game development. I mean, I get it from like a memory perspective, but like I just think it's such a bad precedent to set. Right, here we go. All or nothing, baby. All or nothing. Oh my God, I can't revive you. I can't revive you. What? There we go. We're good.
Well. Oh my God!
And an insta kill. What?
Bro, Jimmy Zielinski is looking down on us right now.
We love you, Jimmy. We miss you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. What the hell, dude?
Oh my god, that's a name I've not heard in a long time. Good lord. No, yeah, Destiny's a weird one. They're on like season 23, and like every season, as far as I'm aware, has story that links into the overarching story. There's just so much like digest that there have been times where I've been like, oh, I might do like a Hive versus FUD video, but then I look at the Hive one, there's just like so much of it, and I don't want to just like read all of that. I want to experience it all, so I know like in context. Oh, max ammo. I want to know like in context what the lore is, not just like reading it off like the most surface level. But I mean, in some cases, you quite literally can't do that because the content
it's not in the game anymore.
Yeah, it's not in the game anymore. Deleted it. You paid for it and deleted it.
I saw someone wonder about this with regards to Modern Warfare 3 zombies. They were like, hold on, if the Modern Warfare 3 zombies experience is taking place on the Warzone map, does that mean that if they change Warzone map midway through the year, they change Modern Warfare 3 zombies map? And I think it's now confirmed that that is not going to happen. I think it's going to remain on the old map. But that's going to mean that the players that like right now are like going back and playing on old unupdated consoles to try and play Verdansk, those people are going to be able to play the old Warzone map if they just jump into zombies, which is like quite an interesting way of doing it.
It's a weird era of game preservation. With everything becoming so online all the time, and the concept of sunsetting even being slightly popular, I think it's a very rough time for preservation of games because, like you said, like if that wasn't the case and that first DMZ or zombies map, whatever, did get sunset for the new one, that would theoretically never be playable again.
Yeah,
like that's gone forever. Could you imagine if one day it's like, yeah, Doris is gone now, that's it.
Bro, don't even joke about it, dude.
It's insane, but like for the younger generations or the people that are just getting into it now, like that map, whatever, I don't know what the hell it's called, but the map in Modern Warfare 3, that very well could be their Doris. To what Doris is to us, that could be, or like, well, Verdansk is a great example. What Doris is to us, Verdansk is to like probably millions of people. And right now, there is, unless you have like a modded Xbox, there is no way ever to play Verdansk. Ever. You just can't do it. I think it's insane.
Yeah, you put it that way, and it really makes you think. Like these live services where they pick and choose what isn't present at a given time. It's a scary thing to be able to mess with someone's childhood nostalgia in that way. Like it's one thing for like a new platform to not support an old platform's game, like a PS4 game not working on PS3 game not working on a PS4, for example. Like, okay, that's one thing. To go even further and be like, well, even if it did work, you wouldn't be able to, bro. We got a nuke.
I agree.
Stinky ass zombies. God damn it, Jimmy.
God, JD 2020. No.
Yeah, for that to just be like permanently ripped out of the game, and well, presumably permanently until they decide to add it back. Like that's wild. And I mean, Fortnite has just had what 44 million players or something in one day play the game because they brought the OG map back. I suppose like bringing back those people's Doris, which is what a weird way of putting it, but like such an accurate and an emotive way to do it. Like I've just never thought of it that way before.
It's a strange but unfortunately very fitting analogy. I mean, it gets even worse than that though. Like, yeah, with stuff like the old Fortnite map, or like with, I don't know, whatever Warzone map, Verdansk. Like, yeah, the devs can bring it back, but what happens in like 10 years time when we're on like Modern Warfare 17 and these servers are long gone, they've been shut off, and the entire game is now unplayable because the whole of it, every element of that game requires online access for it.
So like, true.
When Halo 3 got shut off last year, that was, I mean, besides that being an absolutely heartbreaking occasion, that should have absolutely not happened. Nice. I'm good whenever. That was a real like shock for me. So I was like, hang on, I can never, ever experience this game's like, for some people this seems silly, but like for people that played Halo 3 during its heyday, it's not. I can never experience the classic Halo 3 matchmaking lobby again. That will never exist again. Yeah. Besides like the odd like modded client here and there that people get, which is pretty cool. Like there's one right now, I forgot what it's called. That's like basically revived the OG servers. It's pretty cool. But like in an official capacity, that will never exist again.
Yeah, and putting your disc into your console and the smell of the console and like all that stuff is like, it sounds silly, but genuinely makes such a big difference to the experience. And for that to then just go, and then to just be like, lol.
That's it. By the way, buy our $47 bundle.
Yeah, and we'll bring that content back in 10 years' time in a remastered experience called Modern Warfare 3.
Right, exactly. That is used as nothing but a tool to make you buy more bundles.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different topic.
The cynical evisceration of game content is one that I weep for on a regular basis.
And it really is cynical as well, because it's always done intentionally. Like with Verdansk, for example, how that map just went and that was it. Like, it's not even like you can go back and play it because they removed it from Modern Warfare 19. Oh, no, they didn't even remove it. They removed Warzone 1. I forgot about that. Warzone 1, you can't even play it anymore. It's just gone. Like, it's just flat out gone. Any money you spent on that, gone.
Yeah, that is a whole thing in itself, right? The fact that you invest so much time into getting set up in that sort of stuff, and then it's just like, okay, we're just going to do another one now. But it's functionally the same, but it's just another one. It's like, well, what?
and the worst part is, like, none of it crosses over, and there's no way for you to ever experience that again. Like, this is genuinely, like, I see the way that the industry now is like a game preservation apocalypse, because it's at a point now where it's not in our hands to preserve games. It's in developers' hands and publishers' hands. And at some point, every modern game, there will come a point in the future, 20 years' time, where Fortnite servers will be shut off. And that'll be it. They are not going to be up. There will be a time before the heat of the universe that those servers get shut off.
I know some people listening to this right now are like, I don't care, it's Fortnite. And there are other people that are listening and they're like, bro, my skins. Like...
Exactly. I mean, the best way to like I put it to you is, like, imagine if all of a sudden World at War didn't exist. Imagine if all of a sudden BO2 didn't exist anymore. That was it.
Yeah.
And the BO2. No more BO2.
So how, as an enjoyer of zombies, how do I fight back against the erasure of these games from the historical record? It's already happened to some extent with the hacking situation in Black Ops 3 and it being unsafe to play the damn game. Like, that's already a partial step in that direction, because that original experience is so eroded by the security issues there. But how do you go a step further and actually just straight up prevent it from being total collapse of the entire experience? Like, what do you do? Are you just helpless?
Call me a pessimist, but I don't think there's anything you can do.
Oh my god, man.
There is absolutely nothing that we can do. I don't want to sound like a turbo pessimist that always is like glass half empty, but honestly, there is nothing we can do about it. Like, nothing we say is suddenly going to change any executive or like high up person's mind. Like, you know what? That YouTuber said he made a good point. I agree. Like,
Things that a C-suite exec has never said.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Like, it was, someone said it regarding Bungie and Destiny recently. It was a good point. It's like the higher ups, I think it was Data actually said it. He was saying like, I can't even bring myself to be angry at the situation because I don't even know the people that I'm meant to be directing my anger towards, because they have no public, like, they aren't public in any capacity. They have no public entity. They are these, like, almost like, have you ever seen Mr. Robot?
Yes.
So you know that episode in the first scene where, first scene in the first episode where Elliot meets Tyrell for the first time, and he goes up the elevator to the top of that massive building in New York, and he goes to that boardroom with all these, like, almost stereotypical faceless, like top 1% of CEOs. Yep. That's what it reminds me of. These people, like, you don't even see their face because it doesn't matter, because you don't know who they are. You'll never know who they are. Whatever you say will never get through to them. Whatever they say goes, regardless of how correct or incorrect or logical or illogical it is. Whatever they say goes above everything else, and that's it. That's the way it is now. Until we have, which will never happen, another video game crash like in the 80s, which is never going to happen at this point.
Wait, so what was that? I don't know anything about that.
So I don't know enough about it. I don't know as much as I probably should do, but the long and short of it is there was a huge crash in the video game industry in the 80s. It wiped out a bunch of companies. I think it was mainly out of Japan that it happened.
Interesting.
Gaming, I mean, it was obviously big in Japan first, and then it kind of spread over to like Europe and the West.
Sure, yeah.
But it was a big industry in Japan first. And there was this, basically there was obviously the 80s were like a massive, like, economical bubble, running, like, that was where Wolf of Wall Street came from and all that stuff, but like, it basically wiped out the majority of the game industry, and it kind of got reset.
Oh, wow. I have literally never heard about that before. I need to do some Wikipedia diving at some point to learn about it.
I did that, exactly that, about a year or 2 years ago, and I've forgotten most of it now, but it was really interesting reading about it. Like, I can't remember the course of it. I think from what I remember roughly, there was like one game that sparked it. That was like projected to sell loads, and it flopped for whatever reason, and it brought the entire industry down with that. I may be completely misremembering that. So if there are any like video game historians in the comments, I'm terribly sorry. I've just completely gotten that wrong.
If there's a video game historian in the comments, come on the show, bro. This is a show now, apparently. Come on the show, dog. Like, Well, let's have a conversation. I'd love to learn about what happened there and how we can make it happen again. No, I'm kidding.
What I'm saying there is like that. I think barring some absolute insane event like that realistically isn't going to happen anymore. I don't think that'd do anything. I think I look at that kind of like broader stuff as in such a pessimistic light nowadays, because I've come to the realization that nothing I say or do has any effect on it at all, because like it's the running thing of like with you, when YouTubers give an opinion, they are like the vocal majority, and it is
vocal minority.
Vocal minority, sorry, yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, well, it's definitely the case. Like for every person that makes a video about their opinions on a game, or like watches a video about someone else's opinion on a game, there's like 100 more people that don't even know that person exists and are consuming the game as if nothing's ever happened. Yeah,
and they are wanting their precious skins, and that's all they care about.
They want 115 shampoo in a Modern Warfare 3 Zombies Warzone DMZ mode.
Yo, same. Can we just make sure that this is marked down on the record? Where's my 115 shampoo? Bro, if I could like get glowing hair, yes, I'm in.
Bro, you want the 115 shampoo with a liquid divinium conditioner? That's the future.
For God's sake. And then what do they even call it in Black Ops 4? Like, do we know?
What?
Oh, I got a max.
Oh, beautiful. I need that so bad.
Do we know what it's called? And isn't it like, I don't know, Nebulium or something?
Oh,
we can't even remember.
Oh my God. Okay, my excuse here is I've not been a zombies YouTuber since 2012, so that is my excuse here. Milo, you have no excuse. I have
fair enough.
One decade long excuse. I'm back in my room.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Cool.
I'm dead.
Oh, okay.
I'm dead.
Okay. Give me a moment to figure out how to make this work.
Bro, I forgot about like the haunting screams you hear when you're down.
Oh God, it's over. It's over.
Oh, it's so over. Yep.
Damn, GG, dude. That was a good ass game of Knocked. Like,
how did we survive like 3 times longer on Knocked than we did on Shi No Numa? Explain that to me. Shi No Numa is like the easiest map in human history.
Yeah, how did that happen? Listen, maybe if we'd had our Nebulium plasma, we'd have been fine, dude. I just didn't buy enough skins.
Oh my God. You didn't get the face paint, dude.
Yeah, bro, the face paints.
You didn't unlock the Richtofen green face paint. I told you before we started recording that you needed that, bro.
My bad, dude. All right, well, this has been a fun little exploration of wondering if zombies can survive as a live service game, and also talking about some other stuff. We've been all over the place, and it's been a lot of fun. Luke's channel is linked in the description. If you want an injection of flood content, now is the time for it, because it's apparently flood season in Halo Infinite. Luke makes videos similar to the sort of stuff that I make on zombies, about the zombie storyline, except it's all Halo focused. And also a little bit of like, you got some like SCP videos in there as well, right? You got some other bits and pieces, right?
We do a little bit of variety content.
Hell yeah, I saw some Metal Gear on the channel.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that's linked in the description. Also, this has been like a new thing. I don't know if I would call this a start of a series, because I don't know if this video is going to get 5,000 views right now. And if it gets 5,000 views, then that's not enough for me to ever do it ever again. But if it gets more than that, then I'd consider it. So leave a like and leave me a comment on whether or not you absolutely hated this. I will see you in the next one, if there is one, maybe. And if not, I'll hopefully just see you somewhere else at some point in the future. How does that sound? I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.
Goodbye.